What's up, YouTube, Facebook? We are back with another episode of the Kingpins Talk podcast. It's actually our first live show. The first time we did it was a recorded episode, but I'm gonna let the host Don introduce himself first, and then we'll keep talking about what we got going on.
Hey y'all, for y'all that know me out there, y'all know me as Dunn the Kingpin. Real name's Ontario Moore. I hail from Atmore, Alabama. Woot woot, roll tide. Um, Really excited about this live episode for the first time. I'm just hoping and praying that y'all enjoy this episode, that y'all be engaged with what we have to talk about this evening. We have an awesome show for y'all this evening. So I just want y'all to just be engaging, just have open ears, open hearts to what's being said on this podcast, because I believe it's gonna reach somebody, and it's gonna encourage somebody on today. So hope y'all enjoy. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, and for those who don't know me, I'm Nate Butler Jr. Of course, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, big time Atlanta sports fan. As he mentioned, this is a show. This is totally different from what you used to seeing me do with sports. We really want to touch some people's lives because we are a year and a half fresh into a pandemic, getting towards the end of it. So doing shows like this will be, who knows, we could motivate someone that may need some uplifting right now. You don't know what situation you're going through in your personal life right now. So we just hope that you give us some great feedback behind this show, and just you go ahead and give us some great topics, because the first time we got on here, we had a couple of conversations. We discussed a couple episodes ago, a couple months ago, we discussed fatherless homes. If you didn't get a chance to check that out, please go to the YouTube of Kingpin Talks podcast and check that one out. The previous one, we had a couple of different topics that we discussed. So if you didn't hear it the first time, go back and make sure that you check it out. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and turn it back over to Dunn, and we start the topic that we're going to touch on today.
So the topic we was gonna first of all, thank you, Nate, for outlining, and really, like he was saying, just make sure y'all go back to our YouTube channel and go back and listen to the previous episodes, because there's some really awesome content on there. And one thing about this channel, we want to be diverse, and we're not really centered to a specific gender, but we touch all areas of life. So y'all just make sure y'all go in there, y'all tune in. But on this evening, we're gonna be talking about self-love. We're gonna be talking about the importance of self-love, and how it could be a huge benefit to your life. So um one thing about self-love, it has to come from within. You have to realize that you have to know your worth. And there's one thing about it, we live in a society now where it's relationship driven, where you have to feel like you need to be with somebody in order for you to love yourself. But one thing I want to point out is that in order for you to love somebody else, you must also love yourself. And one thing about it, at the end of the day, if nobody else loves you, if nobody else shows you appreciation or give you words of affirmation, then you have to make sure that you're patting your own self on the back. When you achieve a small goal, no matter what size it is, it can be small or big, but no matter what goal you achieve in life, just make sure that you pat yourself on the back, because that can take you a long way. And that's a great example of self-love. And not you don't have to depend on anybody else to love you, but when you love yourself, that will only enhance the love that you have for somebody else. I'm just going to turn it back over to Nate at this time, if for any additional words or comments that he have as it pertains to self-love.
Absolutely, I totally agree as far as the self love conversation, because again, in a lot of ways, you can't love yourself if you don't be proud of your own accomplishments, because at the end of the day, you got to have confidence within yourself to be able to take the next leap. If you don't love yourself enough to go into, because life is going to be nothing but filled with adversity. So you're going to have to continue to remind yourself, hey, this is a hard journey, but I can do this. I can make this happen. I can make all these obstacles without not feeling confidence, because self-love also ties back into confidence. If you don't love yourself, you can't be confident to take that next leap in life. You can't be confident to take on any challenge that you go to in life. Because one thing that I love that you just mentioned was about people thinking that they have to meet the standard of the world. That's a hard thing to deal with at times, because if you feel like that you got to meet the standard of the world, then you can't be happy with yourself first and foremost, because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's path to success is different. So you can't. So when you see people gaining this type of traction and gaining anything in life that may pertain to success, to prosperity, to happiness, you got to take a step at a time, because what may have, you don't know what they went through behind the scenes, how they had to build their self-confidence, how they had to build self-love up to even get to that point. Because there's a lot of people that cannot go through that without the self-love. And at the end of the day, yes, you may have outside support, a support system. You may have a significant other that's in your corner, but if you don't believe in yourself first, you kind of just, and I gotta use sports reference, of course, this is my background, but you kind of like your own championship team. You can't you can't be the star of your team if you're not confident in yourself. I can't put the ball in your hand at the end of the game to win the game for me if you don't feel like you're confident enough to do it. But just, I want to jump over here real quick. We had a couple questions. I got Young Kobe checking in from YouTube. What if someone does not know what love is? How can they love themselves? That's a very good question. I'm gonna let you answer that one first.
That's a really good question. So one thing about it is, okay, he said, what if someone does not know what love is? Okay, in that instance, you have to look at what's fulfilling you. If you're being touched by something that's not fulfilling you, that's not love. Love is something that's going to fulfill you, is going to be something that you desire, is going to be something that is going to keep your tank filled. It's just like a car. The car can't go anywhere unless it's got gas in it. And somewhere down the line, when we don't love ourselves, we forget to stop by the gas station and put some old fuel in the car. If you don't take that moment to stop and put gas in that car, you eventually go run out of gas. What I mean by that is, if you don't eventually take that time out to appreciate yourself, to love on yourself, to show yourself affection, to give yourself that self-confidence, then eventually you're going to run out of gas. You're eventually going to run out of confidence. You're going to run out that thing that was fulfilling you, and you're going to try to go somewhere else to get fulfilled. And many times when we're feeling lonely, when we're feeling dependent on something, we're gonna try to go to somewhere to get that thing that we're supposed to have ourselves. But how many when you begin to love yourself, you won't have to depend on anybody else to love you. You already have what you need on the inside. And how can they love themselves? Well, how one thing you can do to love yourself is show yourself appreciation. Take your time out to say, you know what, I I'm thankful that I have a job. I'm thankful that I'm able to have a steady income. I'm thankful, that I'm in my right mind, that I have my heart. I'm not dealing with things that could have took me out. Because how many we all fortunate to be here. We're all blessed to be here. The fact that you're here right now shows that God loves you. If nobody else loves you, you can always know that God loves you. And so one example of you loving yourself is to say, hey, one night, dress up, go take yourself out to dinner, or take yourself out to the movies. Go buy yourself some ice cream, sit at the park. Just take that moment to think of your life from where you came from and where you at now. Because life is growth. There's growth in life. Life is about process. Life is about aiming at things that some people didn't think that you could achieve, but you achieved that. So that in itself can is a way that you can love yourself. And I hope that answered your question.
I think that's an interesting question. Definitely, I like what you said about it as well. I think the biggest thing is when you get a chance to learn how you are and you chance to learn where you stand in life, because if you grew sometimes if you weren't sometimes it takes how I want to put this. See how I want to put this. This is a very good question because it can even tie back into your environment. If you didn't grow up in a loving environment, you really don't know how to love yourself. So sometimes it takes you being able to step out of the box and go for something that you may not have been willing to go for in the beginning. Because if you don't take the time out to realize who you are, you can't gain the knowledge, you can't gain the self-respect or the love that you want to gain in life by doing that. So I think a part of this can tie into your environment. Sometimes the world will, because the thing is, if you don't get a chance to build yourself up to an extent, this world is so critical that it will be quick to just spit you up and just throw you away like, okay, you got to go back to square one. So I think the biggest thing is kind of learning yourself and being appreciative of your journey. Because if you're not appreciative of your journey, you can't gain the self-love that you want to gain. And that's where the experience comes in, because everybody don't grow up in the same atmosphere. Like, for some people, they don't grow up even being told that they love each other. They don't grow up being told that, okay, I'm proud of you every single day. So sometimes if you don't know, if you haven't seen that, it can be an awkward feeling to you, because we actually touched on this in a previous episode, going back to when we were younger, how us, even as men, it was a negative connotation to it of showing your fellow man any kind of love and respect when we were younger. So that was something. And then even as a man, for even going into a man perspective on this thing, if you're told you got to be a particular way, sometimes you may ignore loving yourself along the journey. So it's an experience thing as well. You gain experience as you go along with it. But let me go to these comments right now. Cujo from YouTube, what's going on? He said that's true, hard pill to swallow. Self love is definitely connected to confidence. Yes, we were just talking about that.
Yes, it is.
Young Kobe said the world is probably the worst confidence killer the world, and people make it hard for you to actually have love and confidence in yourself. The world is tough. That's very true, but that's also, kind of going back to what we were discussing as far as it comes down to building behind closed doors, because one thing you never know what you're going to take on in the world. The world's going to have their opinion of you, but you got to know within yourself that, hey, I can make this happen. You want to say you have to say about that comment?
Yeah, I really want to touch on that comment because I started thinking about, what I see on social media about, when people start posting certain things, like they post themselves riding in Maseratis and Rolls Royce and Lamborghinis. They posting themselves in mansions. They posting themselves, having a whole bunch of money. And in the world, some people try to emulate that, or they try to use that to say, okay, because the world try to use that as a way to pump themselves up. And then if you're not careful, when you start, the more you start paying attention to what you don't have, the less you'll start appreciating the things that you've been given. Because I'm a believer that each and every one of us was created with a certain gift, certain things that only we can achieve on this earth. And I believe that even though each and every one of us was created differently, that's the uniqueness of life, because we're not supposed to be the same. We're always supposed to be utilized in the gift that we was created with. And one thing about the world is, and that's so careful, that's why it's so careful that we do not try to find self-love in social media, because that will be your only place of self-fulfillment, and that's the wrong place to be fulfilled. The same people that's liking your posts on the one day, the next day you start posting something else, they might hate, they might not like you, they'll unfriend you, they'll say, "Hey, you talking crazy? You talking like a person that's lost." So the same people that's liking your post, that's loving your post, one day they'll easily turn on you the next day. So you can't depend on social media to be your place of fulfillment. You can't depend on social media to be your only place of self-love, because one thing about people, at the end of the day, we're not supposed to trust people. We're supposed to trust God. And I know I'm forever going back and taking it back to a spiritual point, but I believe everything has to go back to a sense of spirituality. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that self-love, you won't have to depend on trying to post something for likes to make you feel like, oh, this person care about me. Oh, I'm important because somebody liked my post. My self-love doesn't depend on social media. My self-love does not depend on whether people like my posts or not, or things of that nature. But my self-love comes from within, because I know what I've been created for. I know the gifts that I've been given. So as long as I'm working my gift and I'm going out here and I'm being Dontario, I don't have to depend on anybody else to love me, because at the end of the day, I love myself. And so, even though it's our job to aim for success, you don't have to go after the same things that people have on social media, because that could be a sense of false love. That could be a sense of false fulfillment, to say, oh, unless I have a mansion, I'm not doing enough. Unless I have a Lamborghini, I'm not doing enough. Unless I have $1 million in my bank account, I'm not doing enough. No, you're good right where you are. Keep loving yourself, and eventually you will get there. But don't let attention be your source of self-love, because if attention is the only thing that you're looking for to fulfill you, then you're going to be sadly mistaken, because once that attention leaves, you're going to be left empty, because that was your only source of self-love. That was your only source of importance. So don't depend on social media to define your self love. I just wanted to add that in right there.
I like that point that you made. Let's go to the other comment. Cujo7912 said that the first step to learning love is learning yourself. Once you know yourself, you know what you like, what makes you happy. Continue to do those things, turn to self love. I love this comment.
Point.
Absolutely love
Good
this
point.
comment.
I agree.
Pink Pond Princess, what's going on? This is my cousin. If you are on YouTube, give her a subscribe to her. If you love fishing, I promise you, you're gonna love her account. She goes
I
fishing
will.
everywhere. But
I
she
will
said that's so
subscribe later.
true. Okay, yeah, you gotta definitely check it out. That's so true. If you take care of yourself first, and everything else will fall in place. Absolutely, that will surely
Amen.
will fall into place.
Good, good
George
point.
Chapman from Facebook said that self love is the best love. Absolutely.
True. Facts.
Ryan Gordon, what's going on, bro? He's checking in from YouTube. Said, I may get negative looks on this, but I personally believe you can love someone or others without loving yourself. Maybe nearly improbable, but very possible. Let me tell you this. I don't disagree with this. And I'm going to tell you why I don't disagree with this. Because if I can kind of say there was a point in my life where everybody's problems, everybody's issues, everybody's concerns was before me. And I didn't realize that I wasn't truly valuing myself. I was more so concerned about what everybody else had going on. It could be you feeding into their lives spiritually, mentally, financially, physically. It's many ways that you could have been helping a person out without making sure that you could go so hard to make sure that the next person is okay. And then when it comes time for you to make sure you're good, you don't get that same energy. So that messes with your self-love or messes with your self-confidence. So that's a very, it's not a bad comment, because you can truly love. It happens even in friendships and relationships. You could love someone more than you love yourself, to the point where if things doesn't work out for you with that particular person or that particular situation, it destroys you, because you don't even realize I didn't love myself enough to know that I was more concerned about what they wanted more so than what I wanted. And that's why I can say that that's not a bad take on what you just said, because at the end of the day, some people may have, because like I said, I can speak for myself. sometimes you can go so hard for the next individual that you may ignore your own needs, that you may ignore your own wants, because you, in your mind, thinking, okay, I'm confident enough to be this blessing to another person, this encouraging to another person. But then when it doesn't work out with that individual, then you're like, wait, I shouldn't have done this like that. So it's a it's very true. You can do that. And that's why that's why we definitely say that getting a chance to love yourself should be first before you commit to giving your love to the next individual. But I'm gonna let Don speak on that.
Um, I mean, same for you. Same as what you said. I appreciate the feedback. I respect everybody's opinion. I'm gonna have to go the other way on this one. I don't like me personally. I see, speaking from personal experience, because I done been in that place to where I've loved somebody else more than I love myself, and I found myself being drained and the other person being filled, and I wasn't getting back what I was putting out. Not trying to say, oh, I love you, so give me mine's back, because we know that love is not a give to get, but it's a give to give. And so I just feel like, um when you find yourself in a situation where you're loving somebody else, that should ignite the other person to say, you know what? Let me give that love. Let me reciprocate this. Let me reciprocate this, because it's a natural reaction. If I give you $1, that's going to propel you. Well, sometimes if I give somebody money, I'm not really looking forward to getting it back, but if they give it back, then I'm be like, hey, wasn't really expecting this, but I appreciate it. So I just feel like you won't be able to love anybody else if you don't love yourself first. I mean, me personally, I don't see any situation where you can love the other person but you're not being loved. I don't see any way that relationship can work out, because like I said, I'm just speaking it. I could be wrong. I'm just speaking from personal experience. I've been in situations where I loved the other person to the point where I was neglecting my own self, and it did not turn out very good, because at the end of the day, I'm looking around like, okay, I'm giving you what you need. Like, hey, what's going on? Why I'm not being reciprocated? And again, I did not love out of getting reciprocated, but I'm just speaking from a perspective of, okay, the genuine thing to do is when somebody's giving you love, then give that back, because that's what you will want the other person to do for you if you found yourself in my shoes. So, like I said, I respect what Brian had to say, but I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with that. But to each his own. At the end of the day, I'm not here to knock down anybody's opinion or anything um in that nature.
Oh, okay. He also said maybe through envy of one or other half. How do we
Mhm.
manage to be able to love ourselves? And what are your thoughts on the above comment? We just touched on that. I just want to show you that.
Mhm.
Desiree from Facebook said, "When we truly
Hey,
learn to
Des,
love
what's going on?
ourselves."
That's my sister. That's my sis right
Okay,
there.
okay. Hey sis, how you doing? She said, "When we truly learn to love ourselves, I mean every part of us, flaws and imperfection, it increases the values that we place on ourselves. Embrace you." That's an
Mm,
outstanding comment. It couldn't have
that's a
been.
valid
I
comment.
don't even know if there's anything we need to say to that one because that's a great comment all the way around
It
the board.
is. It is.
Let's see. To Vaj Hayes, what's going on, my bro? He said, "A wise person told me you are the realest person on your team. If you don't love yourself, nobody else will. Love starts at home with your parents. Most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, if your parents teach you that, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Very
That's
true.
true, and that's why we talk about the fact that sometimes the problem with everyone's life is in a different space. Everyone grew
Mm-hmm.
up in a different situation. You may have received the most love at home. You may have sometimes had to learn it on the fly because of your situation. So sometimes that is so true. Sometimes if you don't know the value, because I also look at it like this, I'm sure Don may agree on this. You gonna to me as we're both 30 now. You are gonna have to. It's a level of love you got to learn when you're a kid, when you're a teenager, in your early 20s, in our 30s now, it's going to even change as we get older and older and older. And there's things that we learn through experience. Because as he mentioned, if even when it goes back to instilling more in yourself than in others than you do in yourself, that's something that kind of even goes back to our parents. I'm sure all of you on the stream can probably agree with this. You've all heard your parents say, you know, you got friends gonna come and go, friends gonna come and go, this person gonna come and go, that person gonna come and go. But as you're younger, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was 17, 18, I'm just like, my mom knows what she's talking about. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it. But
Right.
as I got older, I was like, okay, I really see what she's talking about.
Yeah, it
I
makes sense.
definitely understand it now. It's
It
like
definitely makes
because
sense. Yeah.
when you see how people operate, then you start saying, "Oh man, mom was correct." But at
Right.
the time, you're like, man, I'm not trying to hear all that. But now I appreciate what she's saying to me. So that is a very, very good point because I'm sure
And
Don, your mom has probably said to you.
yeah,
But
and I also I really like that first sentence. A wise person told me that you are the realest person on your team. That's so true because people can switch on you on any second, but you can't switch on yourself. If you really take the time out to know who the real you is, take that time out to work on you, take that time out to love yourself, take that time out to appreciate yourself, then you won't get upset when somebody tell you what's wrong with you. And that's one thing about self-love. When you love yourself and people tell you something that you know is true about you, you won't get upset. And that's something that my wife Jennifer um tell me that all the time. You can't get mad. She always tell me I can't when you tell me the truth, I can't get mad at it because it's the truth. Hey, you tell me I got an attitude problem. You absolutely right. I do have an attitude problem because I've took that time out for myself to say, you know what? I really do got an attitude problem, and I really need to work on it. So that's one evidence of self-love. When somebody tell you the truth about you and you know it's true, you won't find yourself getting upset. You won't find yourself getting defensive or trying to shut that other person up because they telling the truth about you. So you are the realest person on your team. That's very true. That's very true.
oh, let's see. He also said that self love when you go to seek love, you know exactly what you're looking for. That's a good point
Mm,
as well.
very good point.
Jordan said it's also important to take it's important to also, excuse me, take care of your own mental first. Absolutely.
Facts.
That's a great
Facts.
comment. Great comment. My cousin, hey cuz, how you doing? She's checking in from YouTube, said happiness is an inner
What's going
emotion
on,
first.
cuz?
You have to be happy with yourself before you can be happy with another person. So true.
Very true. Yeah.
That's so true.
It's fast. You got to be happy with
Okay,
yourself.
let's Cujo 7912 says some folks are raised on love, some folks are raised on survival. Nothing wrong with either. But you start to truly notice the difference the older you get. That's a
Yeah.
tremendous comment
Very
because
valid.
I can say I've there some people that know me away from this thing know that there are conversations that I hold with particular people, whether I'm, motivating or whatever. And you do notice that difference because some people don't know what it's like to receive that true love. Some people don't even know what it's like to hear them say that they love you, to be honest
Mhm.
with you. So when you hear that, it's like, why they love me? For what? Because if
Right.
you weren't growing up hearing that, if you wasn't growing up receiving a hug, you weren't growing up receiving that true love into your life, then
Mhm.
certain things you won't be able to understand. Sometimes you think that love is being able to make it to the next day.
Right.
So when a person shows you genuine love without a stipulation or without you having to do something for their to receive their love, it's weird or maybe even unusual to you. So that's a great comment because I've had this conversation with Don off this thing multiple times that I was
Mhm.
telling him it's incredible how certain people that we grew up with, certain people that we were around when we were younger that didn't value that, you look at them years from now and it's like you see that they're a proponent for it because
Mhm.
everybody's journey has grown different. So what may not have been familiar with them at the age of 17 and 18, became familiar with them when they got going through life. You may have lost a person, you may have went through a situation where in a relationship, with having kids, with having a family, with going through a career change. So you don't know how those things are getting within life. So that is such a true comment. I'm gonna let Dunn comment on that.
All right. I really like that word survival because it truly is when you in survival mode, you're really desperate. You're desperate for the love. And it's like the song says, looking for love in all the wrong places. That's why you see most people get into bad relationships, toxic relationships, and they just stay in toxic relationships because that's how they what that's what they grew up off of in their early childhood, and that's all they know. All they know is toxicity. That's all they know. They didn't grow up in hey, my dad gonna be home, or my mom gonna be home. There's always gonna be food on the table. We always gonna have family dinners. We're gonna sit around and talk. We're gonna go on vacation. Some people didn't grow up like that. Some people grew up, hey, we eat in our room, you eat in your room. Hey, we talk when we talk. It's a hey and bye. You know what I'm saying? Some people some people was raised in abusive relationships. Some people, unless and I've heard some stories. I've heard a few stories about, people who, unless their significant others beating on them, that they don't feel like they're loved. The only time they feel like that they're loved is when they're getting abused. And it's like that's really when you're on survival mode, when you're desperate for love, when you're desperate for that dependence to say, okay, somebody noticed me. And the thing about it is self-love really teaches you your worth. You have to know your worth. And that's what self-love does. What is your price tag gonna say? Is your price tag gonna say $0.00, or is it gonna say it's gonna have some significant value on it? What self-love really teaches you your value. How much value do you have? What value are you adding to yourself on a daily basis? Are you getting out here and you achieving your dreams, or out here and your only goal in life is to do a 9 to 5? I don't know about any one of y'all and some of y'all, but my goal at the end of the day is not to stay on the 9 to 5 until I die. I want to be a business owner. I want to, do real estate. I want to do all type of stuff. I want to help my wife get, push, her goals. I want to help my wife get to where she want to be, because not only do I love her, but I love me too. And so I just feel like, when you experience self-love, you don't have to be dependent on who loves you, because you love yourself, and you won't have to be in survival mode.
I like that. Love that comments. Let's see. Cujo 7912 also said self love also teaches how to receive love. A lot of people focus on giving love. If you don't know how to receive it, you'll be in the same boat as someone who doesn't know how to give it. That's a great point, because that kind of go back to what we were just talking about a moment ago, where we was talking about the whole thing where you don't know what it's like to receive true emotion, true love, true respect. Because I can say this right here, and this is from personal experience. There are some people that don't know how to accept you saying that you're proud of them if they don't see the results of where they're going in life. But sometimes you need to be told that they're proud of you, that they see how hard you're working, or how dedicated
Yeah.
you are to your journey, just to keep you motivated. I tell you, for myself personally, and Don is one of the people that receive it, I send a lot of my close individual friends inspirational messages a couple days throughout the week. And it's to typically keep you can be in the best place in life mentally. But if you don't have someone to say to keep you pushing, you don't know. You may have woke up and just had the worst thought on your mind. But sometimes you need that extra push just to let you know it's something that I may not have thought I needed, but I need this. Because without it, I can't receive the love. I can't love myself first. Because sometimes the biggest thing is if you don't know what you need to push for, it can become a problem for you. Because I
Right.
know, like I've even told Don this before. I remember very first person that came into my life. I had a mentor 10 years ago. Dude told me, "I'm proud of you for how hard you working, for staying focused in school, or whatever." I'm just like, you don't even know me from a can of paint. Now, mind you, this is 20-year-old me, not knowing better. But it wasn't. I didn't take it in a negative way. I didn't understand it at the time. I understand that he was pushing me to be a better man,
Right.
but it made me realize now as I got older, he was instilling something great in me,
Mm-hmm.
whether I knew it or not. And sometimes stepping into a spiritual moment for a second, sometimes God knows what he's doing when he brings certain people to push you in that direction. So it
Right.
does. So you do learn it from your support system. It goes that comment makes me really think about the support system, about the environment, about the positive energy that you have around you. If you can't receive that love truly, you can't understand where you can be at in life. You can't understand how to take that and instill it in the next person. Because one statement that we hear often is paying it for. If you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
if this that also goes with receiving love, that's not just a materialistic thing. The person can tell you, "Hey, I'm proud of you. These are the things that you can see yourself doing in the future." There's going to be a person that's going to come to you years down the road that you're going to steal that same knowledge. It's always that statement of "it takes a village to raise a child." It is so true, and it does not apply to you just from the ages of 1 to 18. It applies as you get older in life. Because at the end of the day, we are all still individuals learning. It doesn't have to have a title of being a child, but you're still an individual learning. So, Don, I'll let you respond to that.
And when Nate was talking about those inspirational texts that he was sending me every morning, and I don't think I ever told him this. So I'm just dropping a little insider information on this one. He would, along with those inspirational messages, he'll just say, "I love you, brother." And at first I was like, I dudes don't tell other dudes this. But I had to realize, okay, that's how he shows love to people. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. He always gonna tell you he loves you, and it's genuine. He's not just saying these things just to say it, because we use that word love loosely. Like, we use that love word very, very loosely, and we don't realize what we're really saying when we say we love a person. Because when you love a person, you're always going to be tender to their needs. You're always going to have an ear to what they say, and you're always gonna have their best interests in heart. So when he was sending me those texts about, I love you, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But I had to get to a point to where I had to get to a point to where I'm like, okay, like, and on the inside, I mean, I love him too, but it was something that will always not, you know, respond type that response back to him. And I had to realize, okay, it must be something that's going on with me personally. Because even in society, going back to a man's standpoint, like, we didn't grow up being told, "Hey, I love you. Hey, I appreciate you. Hey, I'm proud of you." It was always, okay, like, keep going. Hey, keep push. It was always a push. Like, there was never a break, that we could just slow down and just process what we've done in life. Because we're living in a world where it's so productive driven. Like, you don't have a time to just really sit back and really mesmerize on the things that you have accomplished. And so I had to really sit back and really realize, okay, like, is some blockage here that's making me not look at this, dude tell me he loves me in a real genuine way. So I'm glad that that cycle was broken, and that now when he tells me I love you, I say I love you too. Like, no hesitation.
Funny story about that. And I know a lot of my family probably watching it too. We don't really say it in my family. Just to be honest, I'm just gonna be, and it's not a we don't love each other per se. It's the fact that we know it, but we don't say it.
Right.
Going back to that comment about my mentor, he was the first one to start telling me that. I'm like, why you tell me that? You don't even know me like that. So I understand it when it comes with. I understand it from all of my bros that be like, say this to me all the time in the message. So I definitely get it. So that's why I can truly understand where you coming from on that. Hold on, before I continue this, there's another person I send it to every morning. Leave me alone now. And BG talking about the same thing, talking about fashion. Y'all gonna leave me alone now. But anyways, it is definitely our society kicks it in a way, and I even unfortunately hate to bring this up, but you have some people that look at it like you said. The problem is they world want us men to be so negatively driven towards each other, compete. I gotta show this man, I gotta show that man up, or oh, he's showing me love, so that means that he might be looking at it from a weird or even that I'm not even gonna use the term that G-word perspective.
Right.
Or just out of respect. Because that has been told since I've actually, just to be brutally honest with you, and just I'm keeping it 100 with you guys.
Keep it raw, man.
I've had that comment made towards me for showing love and respect like that, and I completely spazzed. The guy that y'all know me to be was not that guy that responded to those individuals. I acted a complete, not even gonna use the word that I acted like on here, but just know I didn't react the way that you probably should react. But it's also I understood it because of what we grew up in this world. My cousin is on here. She said we don't. We don't. We're close as a family. So it's not one of it's not one of them things where it's like, well, why do y'all not say it? We actually very close as a family. It's just not a thing that we push ourselves to say. So it's something we getting better at as we become adults. Because to be honest with you, we're doing better at hugging when we as adults. Not saying we didn't do it as we were kids, but this is just I'm just keeping it real from. So anyone that when they hear me say like you always say it to me all the time. If you knew the background, you would know. You'd be like, man, this is so different from. But like I said, it came from being exposed to more positive people, more of a positive environment, because it didn't just come from our mentor. It came from the people that I was blessed to meet in college, blessed to come across, blessed to come across people that showed it genuinely. Because as you said, there are people that make that comment and don't mean it. So that is so true. Hold on, let me add another comment. What's going on, Kayla? She said this conversation really good. And hey, bro, you're so right. Those inspirational messages are always on time. Yes, it does take a village. She understands that very close, because this is one of the closest people in my life. We've been very close for over 10 years now. Like, even for me, it also took her even instilling that in me, because like you said, if you didn't grow up around it, it takes your environment to bring that to you. It takes your environment to give you that true love and respect, because you may not even realize that you don't value yourself like that until you start seeing people like, you're awesome, I love how you are, I love you in general. You're like, man, y'all just saying that, man. You don't really mean that. You know what I'm saying? So it is. So I'm glad that you touched on that. And let me add to this comment right here. It's so bad in this world nowadays. My partner don't even try to make "I love you" too sound cool. I say "I love you," they say it straight back. We get it. We get it. What's your thoughts on that?
He said it's so bad in the world nowadays. My partners don't even try to make "I love you" sound cool. I mean, I guess it's different when it comes to men. I mean, it's like, you tell me you love me, man. Like, I mean, what is this getting to? But that has to that just basically mean it has to be some barriers broke down, and it is sad that the world has created these barriers that especially with men is well, I'm just gonna with African American men, it has become a complication for us to just express love with one another. Is unless there's alcohol involved or some type of sports game involved, or is we playing cards, or I'm just gonna say this, unless we're going to a club, like we don't really express our love for each other in a way in a way that we say, just say I love you. And you never know, a brother might need that one day, because we as men, we go through a lot. And I know, and I'm not trying to disrespect the women, because I know they go through a lot as well. I'm just speaking from a man's standpoint. We go through a lot. Like, we have a whole lot of our on our shoulders, and sometimes we do need that I love you. Like one of my love languages is words of affirmation, which basically means that I want to be heard that you love me. Like, I desire to be heard that you're proud of me. I desire to be heard that, hey, you do appreciate me. Not to say that I will be able to sustain myself even if I didn't hear that, because me working on my self-love, I've gotten to the point to where, okay, even you don't say you love me, I can tell that you love me through your actions. So we just have to get to a point to where we start breaking down those worldly barriers that has made that I love you too so cringy, because that's how it used to make me feel when Nate used to text me he loved me. Like, I used to cringe. I'm like mm. But now but now I've gotten to a point to where, hey, he's just showing genuine love. And not only has he shown me love in words, but through action as well. Because anytime I needed something, he's always been there, and I've been there for him as well.
Yes, sir. And you know what's it is great. I love the fact that you even made so. I want to say that as well. Like, as far as women, we would never sit here and be like, "Oh, this is just gear." Are we
Never.
see it through our fellow black men in general.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
one thing that I can say as far as women, I see a lot of women openly express their love for their best friends. You see
Right.
them if their best friend just and I hate to even use social media, but we're just using this as a reference.
Mm-hmm.
Social media. Oh, I love her. She's doing awesome. She's a queen.
I love my
I'm so
bestie.
proud of her. It yeah, that's my babe, and
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
really they embrace each other
Mhm.
as that. But like you said, it's sad because on the flip side, it's been so geared to be so cringy for us to be
Yes.
like, hey man, that's my brother. I love my bro. Hey man, keep prospering, King. So it's something that's growing. It's like it's growing as we get older because again, as you said, it's it's amazing how it's so different because like I
Yes.
said, I see it with a lot of the women that I'm blessed to be around is I see them often. This is my ride or die. She's been my sisters for years, but you don't. I'll put it to you like this: we got to get to a point, and I know Don is going to agree with this. I know everybody on this stream is going to agree with this. What I refuse to do is ever get to a place where the only time I say that I love and appreciate my fellow brother is when they're about to get buried. And
Yes.
that's what the problem has grown to become with us as men. I don't want to just show me the love and respect that you have for me while I'm on this earth. I don't want to. I can't see that you love me when I'm getting ready to die. If when I'm gone, I'm gone. And
Right.
this is not talking in a spiritual level. But at the end of the day, that's not appreciated enough. Like, I wish I could have said more to you, bro. I love you, bro. Don't tell me that when I'm gone from this earth. Let me see that genuine love and respect while I'm here. Because one thing about it, and I can say this, and I know that the women on here probably can agree with this thing. You can truly, and I know they have their own struggles. That in one of these days, we may be able to have women on here be able to give their perspective of what they go through
And
with
we
their
will. And we
individual women
definitely
friends.
will.
But
We
the
definitely
one
will.
thing that I can say for those ones who truly value their fellow women and are friends with them, that doesn't go without being said. So
At
it
all.
has to stop being that way with us.
Yes. Definitely. I definitely agree. And like you were saying, it's just with women, they're so open with it. Like they don't care what anybody say. They gonna show love to their best. They gonna show love to their bae. They gonna show love to their boo. And it sometimes you get to the point to where, girl, you ugly too. And it's like, but they say that in a affectionate way. They not really calling them ugly, but it's like that's the way they show love to each other. And I really appreciate that because that is like no shame in it. But we have to get to a point to where we break that shame off a men's standpoint, because like you said, we don't want to wait until our brothers are on a sick bed, or they're in a casket, they're in a box, they about to get buried in the dirt, to finally say, oh man, I love that brother. And we send that boo-hooing crying, and we want to shed tears and all this type of stuff. Let's show love now. Let's break the trend now, because like the old saying goes, there's no time like the present. We have the power to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. The power does not rely on anybody but us. We have the authority to say, you know what? I'm going to show love to my brother today, because I know that as a man, he's going to go out here in this world. He's going to face some things that's going to be designed to take him down. That's going to be designed to discourage him. That's going to be designed for him to throw in a towel. But we have to tell him, hey, brother, I love you. I'm here for you. Whenever you need me, here's my number. Here's my DM. You can contact me at any time, anywhere. It don't care. I don't care if it's midnight, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. When you need me, brother, I'm here for you. And it should get to a level where it don't become cringy, but we should embrace that love to say, you know what? I have somebody that loves me. I have a brother that's going to hold me up when I fall. I'm going to have a brother that's going to hold me up when I'm slacking up. But it has to come through accountability. And when we be accountable for our own selves, we'll be accountable for our brother. Like the word says, I am my brother's keeper. And we use that term so loosely. We can't be our brother's keeper only when he's slipping up, but we have to be our brother's keeper every day of the week. We don't realize what they're saying means. That means that when my brother needs me, I'm going to be there for him. It don't have to be just money. We think that, oh, just because I gave my brother money today, oh, I did my good deed for the day. No, being my brother's keeper means even if he needs an encouraging word, or he needs some food, or he need a ride somewhere, if I'm able to do it, I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to be looking for anything back in return. And see, that's where the world has misconstrued this love, like it has to be conditional. When you love yourself, you'll realize that love don't have to be conditional. It don't have to be conditional. My love for you is not conditional. I don't care if you do another thing for me. Hey, mom. Hey, mom. I don't care if you do nothing for me. I don't care if I give you $100. You don't have to give it back, because I know that my reward is going to come from God. My reward comes from God. That's why I'm not worried about when people tell us, oh, you working overtime today. Oh, you out here, depend on the. I'm not depending on the job to pay my bills. I'm not depending on a job to see me through, because I got enough love in myself to know that God loves me and he's going to give me everything that I need. But today, I just want to encourage the brothers on here. Don't be afraid to show your brother love, because just like women show other women love too, and they show men love too, we should be able to do the same thing and not allow ourselves to become cringeworthy. The reason why we let it become cringeworthy is because we're trying to please the world. We can't. It's time to stop trying to please the world. We have to please ourselves, and we have to learn how to be there for one another. That's what self-love does. When you love yourself, it's going to become contagious. And that's why there's a lack of love going around, because there's so many people out there that don't even love themselves, and they're being leeches. They don't even know that they've been turned into leeches. It's time out to being love leeches. You have to, and what a leech does is, and most of the time you don't even know that it's on you until you see it on your part of the body. at least just sit there and suck blood and blood until you dry, and they never get full. That's what a person who don't love themselves does. They become a leech. If you have somebody in your life that only contacts you when they need something, they don't love you. They don't love you. And we all have that one person that we got somebody that only contacts us when they need money or they need a ride. Never hear anything else from them. But as soon as they need something, hey, bro, just checking on you to see, can you? No, it's time out for that. It's time out for that. If you're going to love me, be there for me when I need you. Don't just contact me when you need something from me. Send me an inspirational message. I can say for Nate, there's not a day, unless he's really busy, there's not a day that goes by that he don't send me an inspirational message. And I just want to tell you, brother, them words help, because I be going through some things at times. And when you send those messages, them words be right on time. Them words be confirmation to me. So I just want to let you know that personally, that you're helping and that you keep on doing what you're doing, because it's touching people, bro. It's touching
that
people.
means a lot. That means a lot to hear that, because at the end of the day, you know, I had to grow up with that even myself, because initially when I first started, initially when I first started doing it, it was a challenge for me. It was definitely not something that I initially planned on doing on a regular basis, but then I stuck with it because I got a chance to start seeing the responses of like, bro, you don't know how much I needed this. You don't know I'm going through such and such a session. I've been shared with a lot of personal experiences, but you know, at the end of the day, one thing that I can truly say with those messages that I send out, or the constant inspiration, the constant affirmation, showing my love to my bros or whatever, is I always take that time out, because at the end of the day, as you said, we go through our own personal things that we sometimes don't know how to talk about, or maybe afraid to talk about. And I kept this comment up here for this reason right here, because at the end of the day, sometimes your pride can be that, just to use a J. Cole reference, the pride is the devil, just to be real with you. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times we may want to go out here and say, man, I need some help, man. I need to talk to this person about it. But we'll fight it. We'll keep it in to it destroys us. And I go here with this topic to say this right here. As Don said, don't be afraid to open up, talk about whatever you got going on. Because at the end of the day, I don't know for everyone on here, but Don knows this firsthand. Just last year, we lost a classmate that I was very, very close to, because they didn't feel as loved as they should have been. So their self-love wasn't strong. And I ended up going from encouraging this brother, because I don't know if you even remember this, Don. I took about 2 weeks from doing it. I don't know if a lot of people on here that have even received a message. I took 2 weeks from doing it, because I was so mentally shattered by it, because I was like, man, the person they were battling it so bad that they didn't even get a chance to realize how much they loved themselves. So this is why this show is very, very personal to me, because at the end of the day, I do want everybody on here to receive that self-love. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with ever talking. I would rather you talk too much than don't talk at all. Because one thing about it, you don't know who could save your life. You don't know who could change your life, because you could be sitting there on the brink of saying, I don't want to be here no more, and get one encouraging word, and it changes the rest of your life. And one thing, and me add what my brother Shad said on here, because God is love, that is so true. You don't know who God is moving through to talk to you as far as your life, as far as your future, as far as the things to make you a better man or a better woman. Because again, you could be staring at the back of the wall and like, man, I don't see the potential in myself anymore. And that person could pick you up out that corner and put you right back on the track to make you the greatest thing, the greatest person in the world. Because I've had that happen for me with some of the good people I have in my life where I was stuck in neutral and I got the kick that I needed to go back out here and get back on the journey in this thing called life. And
Right.
that's what you're gonna need at times because every moment's not gonna be great. Every moment's not gonna be a solid moment. You're gonna need someone to say, "What are you doing? Get back on the road, wipe them tears off, keep it moving, because you're gonna make it. You're gonna get there." And that's one of the ultimate things that comes into inspiration. It stems from you got to be willing to accept it. So, like Don said, for us filming, we got to be willing to take that moment, to take that time out every single day, even if it's just a simple message to say, "Bro, how you doing? Sis, how you doing? Family member, how you doing? Mom, dad, son, cousin, nephew." It don't even have to necessarily stick to the friendship level. Do it with your
Mm-hmm.
family. Do it in your
Right.
relationship. Do it in your marriage. Always take that time because daily affirmation is so important in this world
Yes.
because you don't know what you take on when you step out them doors. And when you come
Indeed.
back in them doors, you don't know what a person may have fought through to get through that day. Let me
Right.
go to the comments real quick. Your boss said, "Also, Jonathan, you both praying
Hey,
God
man.
continues to bless you. Keep up the great work." We really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. We're gonna keep this
Love you,
going.
mom. Love you,
We're gonna
mom.
keep this going, and I know Don can agree with this. We've been trying to put this thing together, but sometimes it's the timing on everything, and I think just the responses today has been amazing because
Yes.
y'all have carried the show more than we've carried the show, and we appreciate that.
Right.
My
That's that's
cousin,
that's awesome.
my cousin said I send out affirmations to my friends daily. I took 1 week off from doing it, and people thought something was wrong. Oh my good, I can relate to this. I can take 2 days off, and they may say, "Nate, what's going on?"
Right.
Oh, I
Like, are
forgot.
you okay, bro? Like, what's going on, man? Like, what are affirmations at? I just wanted to I just want to appreciate everybody that's on here, man. Like, y'all really, y'all is why I did this. Y'all are the reasons why I want to do a podcast because it was spoken to me a long time ago. People say you got so much knowledge, man. Why you don't do a podcast? You should do a podcast. And I was hesitant, for a second because I'm like, well, guy, I was the only child, I'm shy, I'm nervous and stuff like this. But he said, just go forward. And I'm glad that I was obedient and going forward because like the responses, like you were saying, Nate, the responses truly show that we touching people, man. And that's what we want to do at the end of the day. Like we want to inspire people to be better than they was yesterday. We want to inspire people to go to chase after their dreams, to chase after their goals, whatever God has purpose on the inside of you to go after. We want to be your pushers in that direction. And I want to go back to that pride thing because to me, I feel like pride is the killer of self-love. I feel like pride is the killer of self-love. And when you become prideful, and I can speak from personal experience, I grew up as the only child, and at an early age and even up until my in my adulthood and even at times now I find myself suppressing a whole lot of things and even find myself in marriage. I find myself suppressing a whole lot of things because I realize that, hey, I know my wife be going through a few things as well, and I don't want to bug her with things that I may be dealing with, but at the same time it's not a good thing for me to suppress how I'm feeling because she's telling me that, hey, you can confide in me, hey, you can tell me how you're feeling, then I should be open enough to tell her how I'm feeling. And so I found out that even suppressing my feelings was keeping me awake, keeping me away from showing love to my family members and checking up on them. I was used to people checking up on me and I'm not checking up on them, so I'm making it an everyday thing, to check on my family members, check on my brothers, check on my sisters out there to see if they doing, see how they're doing, and things of that nature, because I would want them to do the same thing for me. I would want them to check up on me. And so Don't ever let pride get you to the point to where you're afraid to speak up, because we're living in a world now where they even got medication out there for depression. They got medications for all types of stuff now. And it's like all this stuff can be eliminated if we just learn how to communicate. If we just learn to talk with one another. If we just learn how to just express ourselves to one another. You don't have to be quiet. You don't have to be silent. The world wants us to be silent, but we have to make it up in our minds and say, you know what, I'm not going to be silent. Because I know if I reach out to my brother, if I reach out to my sister, if I reach out to my mom or my dad or whoever, they're going to help me because I know they love me. And so I just want to continue to tell y'all, hey, love y'all. And it goes back to self-love. It goes back to self-love, because when you love yourself, you're going to know your worth. And your worth is not going to tell you, I can't reach out to anybody because they're not going to hear me. No, your worth going to tell you, hey, because you're loved and you love yourself, go reach out. Go reach out. So I just wanted to add that point in there.
All right, yeah, definitely. That's a definitely great point. Is there anything you want to touch on though before we did it over an hour? We appreciate y'all staying on here. So, is there anything you want to touch on before we call the show? We really appreciate everyone that's been on here the whole time.
Yes. Like you were saying, I just appreciate everybody for jumping on. Didn't want to take up too much of your time. We know it's Sunday. Everybody done took their naps, done ate good at the church. You know, some of y'all done had a good old time in church, whether y'all was in the building or online or a conference call or whatever. But we just appreciate, we really, really appreciate y'all for jumping on here and sharing y'all thoughts and y'all questions, because this is why we're here. We're really here. We're not here because of us. We're here because of y'all. And we want to make sure that you all getting good, wholesome knowledge from two brothers. And Mom said a lot of people need that same kick in this season. Continue to be sensitive and hearing God, and may God continue to push you as you push. Amen. Ma always that's who I get it from right there. That's who I get it from. You know, at the end of the day, I'm still gonna go back to the spiritual. That's who I get it from right there. But as I was saying, we're here to push you guys. We're here. We appreciate you. We appreciate you too. Appreciate it, Reggie. We appreciate y'all for jumping on. I just pray that it blessed y'all and y'all gained a new perspective on self-love, that you won't have to depend on people so much to love you, that you will find yourself in a place that you look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I love me. I love me. Go out and get that dress. Go out and buy those pair of pants. Go out and buy those J's or those Nikes or whatever brand shoes you wear. Do something. I challenge everybody on this week to go do something for yourself. Do one thing for yourself. I don't care if you go out to eat, go see a movie or whatever. Do one thing for yourself that you enjoy, because that's what self-love does. Self-love shows that you love you and that you enjoy being you. Just enjoy being you. Don't go out here and be a carbon copy of somebody else. Don't go out here and be a duplicate of somebody else. If you are going to be a duplicate of somebody, be a duplicate of God. Be a duplicate of Jesus. That's the only person that you're supposed to be a duplicate of, because you're his child. And so don't go out here and try to, copy and paste for somebody else, but go out here and be you. Be you at the end of the day. Because if nobody else loves you, you have to make sure that you love you. You have to make sure that you love you. So I just want to appreciate everybody for coming on. I just pray that everybody enjoyed this show, and just know that we're here for y'all. We're going to be This lady is forever on Amazon. She's supposed she should be the spokesperson for Amazon. Where your Amazon stock at?
Bob like Amazon.
Yes, mom, go get that dress. Go get that dress. Yes, mom. But I just want to encourage everybody to go like, share, subscribe. Um, of course, my podcast is on this podcast is on Anchor. You can go on there if you want to be a monthly contributor to this podcast. You can go on there and set up a monthly donation or whatever, and just know that hey, we here for y'all. Whatever y'all want to talk to, um, whatever y'all want us to talk about, make sure that you put that in the social media or inbox any one of us, and we'll get that stuff out because we here for the people. We here for the people.
Yes, sir. I totally agree with that. And just the last thing I say before we hop off here, just to add to what he said, everyone just know that y'all are kings and queens. Just know that you are all amazing individuals, and no matter what journey you go through in life, it's all set up for something better for you to happen for your life, because we all have our own internal struggles. We all have our own challenges we go through every single day, every single week, and shows like this need to happen more often. So
Yeah.
you guys carried this show for us more than we carried the show. We were able to give you a true perspective because of what you guys said to us.
Exactly.
And that's what's appreciated more than anything else. And we're going to continue with this because at the end of the day, we sat on this episode for a while. We discussed this episode for a while, and sometimes it's all about the timing of when you do certain things. So at the end of the day, I just want you all to know that you are all amazing. You're all tremendous individuals. I genuinely appreciate the love and support that everyone is giving this show today. Any comment that was given on the show today, because we can't do, at the end of the day, I know Don can agree with this. I will never sit here and say we can carry something without the support of you guys. Because at the end of the day, you guys brought a whole different level to this. And I hope you guys continue to support this and you continue to give us ideas that we can bring to the table. I know he wants to bring some guests on here. I want to see that happen too, because you all had so many incredible points that you made in this show. And it was to the point where we wish we could have had all of you on here at the same time. Right. But, at the end of the day, we do want us to be able to inspire you and you take the next leap in life. And at the end of the day, God put us in position to do this. It could have been done from anybody else. And all of you, I want you to know this right here. I hope this show encourages you to be able to be that vessel, that blessing to the next individual, because you never know. This could be a tool for you to take your greatness and go inspire that next person that may hit your phone up and say that they're going through a lot. You may encounter from work, encounter in the store, encounter at church. Take this opportunity to be great in your life, because at the end of the day, the same way that we were able to get on here and talk among ourselves and talk about what we genuinely go through in and out and what we genuinely experience, that is still in you. At the end of the day, like Don said, never let anybody make you feel less than what you are, because we go through things that make us sometimes question how amazing we are. You are amazing even if you are going through everything that doesn't want to see you be great. You're great. Never lose sight of that. That's what it's all about. But that's the last thing I have to say. If Don don't have anything else to say, then this is the conclusion of the Kingpins Talk podcast.
I don't have anything else to say. Go be great.
All right, we signing off, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And until the next show, this is Nate.
And this is Don the Kingpin, aka Dontario Moore.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Bless y'all. Love y'all.